All right, so you're thinking about becoming a pilot.
That's fantastic.
Such a challenging
Yeah.
but incredibly rewarding career, right?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And we're diving deep today
Mm.
into a resource that might give you a little bit of an edge.
Oh.
It's called Aviator Cloud. Have you heard of this?
I have, yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's a competitive world out there for aspiring pilots.
For sure.
And Aviator Cloud seems to understand this. They offer a very targeted approach to pilot training.
Okay, so let's unpack this a little bit. I'm looking at their website right now.
Okay.
And it looks like they're billing themselves as like an online aviation academy. They've got a ton of different courses, and some of these names are pretty intriguing.
Yeah, and their course list really highlights the level of specialization needed in the field, right?
Yeah.
You're not just training to be any pilot.
Yeah.
You're aiming for specific airlines and aircraft types.
All right.
It's not just about learning to fly. It's about navigating a very specific career path.
Okay, so for example, they have a SpiceJet Cadet pilot program online preparation course
Mm-hmm.
and another one for Generation EasyJet pilot training program selection.
Wow.
And then they've got one called A320 Pilot Success. That seems super specific.
Yeah.
What's the advantage of that kind of focus?
Well, I mean, if you know you want to fly A320s,
Right.
wouldn't it make sense to train on the systems and procedures specific to that aircraft?
Yeah.
It's like studying for a test. You want to make sure you're focusing on the right material.
I see. So it's not just about like general aviation knowledge, it's about getting you ready for the exact challenges you'll face in like a particular program or airline.
Exactly. And it seems like Aviator Cloud really emphasizes real-world experience.
Okay.
They highlight that their courses are designed by airline pilots and instructors,
Nice.
many of whom are former students of IGRUA,
Oh, wow.
which is a prestigious flight school in India.
Okay. So they've got the expertise, but do they deliver?
Right.
I mean, that's the big question, right? And they have a whole section dedicated to like testimonials and learner feedback, so that could give us some insights.
Yeah, testimonials can be tricky.
Yeah.
They're often very positive, but it's important to read between the lines
Sure.
and see what kind of concrete results people are reporting.
Okay, all right, let's dive into these. So this review from Vinesh H. Nair mentions affordable rates,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm sure is a big consideration for anyone who is listening to this. I mean, you want to be a pilot, but you don't want to break the bank, right? But affordable doesn't always mean high quality.
That's a great point. Cost is definitely a factor, but it shouldn't be the only deciding factor.
Right.
We need to see if the value matches the price tag.
Okay. Here's one from Rohin Sakthi. It's short and sweet. It just says, best trust it. Just trust them. Aviator Cloud will do their best. So that's enthusiastic.
Yeah.
But not very detailed. Does that
Yeah.
raise any red flags for you?
It's always good to see, some specifics in a review. Like, what exactly did they find helpful? What were their goals? And did Aviator Cloud help them achieve them?
Okay. So maybe take those super short reviews with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a more concrete example.
Mm-hmm.
RO High DHAR passed the IGRUA exam after using Aviator Cloud's resources.
Okay.
So that's a pretty solid outcome.
Absolutely. It suggests that their prep materials are aligned with the demands of that particular program.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if other students echo the success,
Yeah.
especially those targeting IGRUA.
You know what else I'm noticing? Several reviews specifically mention the interview and psychometric test preparation.
Oh, interesting.
Can you explain what those are and why they're so important in pilot selection?
Of course. So technical skills are essential for flying,
Right.
but airlines also want to make sure you have the right personality and mental aptitude for the job.
All right.
So psychometric tests evaluate things like your cognitive abilities, your decision-making under pressure, and spatial awareness,
Wow.
all crucial for a pilot.
So it's not just about knowing how to fly the plane. It's about having the right mental makeup
Exactly.
for the challenges of the job.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
And the interview process is equally important.
Mm-hmm.
It's where they assess your communication skills, your teamwork abilities, and overall suitability for a demanding career in aviation.
It sounds like Aviator Cloud recognizes this and incorporates these elements into their courses, which is a good sign.
It is.
But are there any downsides to this, like hyper-specific approach?
That's a good question.
Are they sacrificing breadth of knowledge
Right.
for the sake of targeting specific programs?
That's a question worth exploring.
Uh-huh.
While having, laser-focused training can be advantageous,
Right.
it's important to have a solid foundation in general aviation principles as well.
Sure.
So let's see if their curriculum strikes a balance between specialized knowledge and foundational understanding. Hashtag TTS, the Deep Dive episode 2025-0115, part 2 of 3.
Okay, so we've talked about how Aviator Cloud offers that, like, specialized training, but do they also cover the fundamentals of aviation?
Yeah, I mean,
It's like you can't build a house without a solid foundation, right?
that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And you're right, having a strong grasp of the basics is crucial. It looks like they do offer a pilot training foundation course,
Okay.
which likely covers those core concepts.
Ew. Okay, so that's probably for, like, those just starting out who need to get up to speed on, like, principles of flight, navigation, meteorology, all that
Right.
good stuff.
It's about building a strong base of knowledge
Right.
before diving into the specifics
Yeah.
of different aircraft or airline procedures.
And speaking of specific, they have this course called A320 Pilot Success, Tech Exam, Compass, Group Tasks, Psychometrics, and Interviews for Air India Indigo. Wow, that's a mouthful. It seems like they're really covering all aspects of the selection process.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is the inclusion of not just the technical exam,
Right.
but also the Compass test
Yeah.
and the emphasis on group tasks and psychometrics.
Yeah.
It shows they recognize that being a successful pilot requires more than just technical skills.
Right. You need to be able to work effectively in a team, handle pressure,
Yeah.
make quick decisions.
Absolutely.
All those things are tested in these additional assessments.
The Compass test, for example,
Huh.
is designed to evaluate your cognitive abilities
Okay.
and how well you perform under pressure.
Wow.
It simulates the kind of multitasking and critical thinking you'll need in the cockpit.
So if our listener is dreaming of flying an A320 for Air India or Indigo, this course could be a game changer for them.
It seems that way, yeah.
But let's not forget the human element, though.
Right.
Even with all the best resources in the world, success ultimately comes down to the individual's dedication and effort.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's go back to those testimonials for a second. A lot of the reviewers mentioned the value of, like, the interactive sessions and mock interviews.
Oh, interesting.
What's your take on that?
Those are fantastic features.
Yeah.
It's one thing to, read about flight procedures or interview techniques,
Right.
but it's entirely different to put that knowledge into practice.
Yeah.
Mock interviews, especially,
Yeah.
can help you get comfortable with the format,
Sure.
identify areas for improvement,
Yeah.
and build your confidence.
It's like the difference between reading a cookbook and actually cooking a meal, right?
Yeah,
You need that hands-on experience
precisely.
to really master those skills.
And Aviator Cloud seems to understand
Yeah.
that they've incorporated these practical elements into their courses,
Yeah.
which suggests they're committed to preparing students for real-world scenarios.
But how do they actually deliver those interactive elements?
Right.
Like, is it live online sessions?
Yeah.
Recorded simulations? The website doesn't go into much detail about their teaching methods?
You've hit on a key point.
Yeah.
The website is a bit vague on the specifics. It'd be helpful to know more about the format of these sessions,
Right.
the level of interaction with instructors,
Uh-huh.
and the kind of feedback provided.
Maybe that's something our listener can investigate further.
Yeah.
Like, is there a way to get, like, a trial or a demo of the platform
Mm,
before committing to a full course?
that's a great suggestion. Often, these online platforms offer free trials or introductory modules.
Right.
That'd be a great way for our listener to get a feel for the teaching style,
Yeah.
the platform interface,
Mm-hmm.
and whether it aligns with their learning preferences.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Aviator Cloud seems to offer a range of courses from, foundational to highly specialized with an emphasis on practical skills
Right.
and real-world application. But we've also identified some areas where the information is a bit lacking.
Exactly. We need more details on the teaching methods,
Mm-hmm.
the level of instructor interaction,
Right.
and what kind of support is offered
Yeah.
outside of the course materials.
And even with, the best resources, success ultimately hinges on the individual's drive and determination.
Absolutely.
Becoming a pilot isn't just about passing tests. It's about developing a certain mindset
Right?
and resilience.
That's a perfect segue
Yeah.
to the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, cool.
Let's talk about the psychological aspects of becoming a pilot.
Okay.
And how one can cultivate those essential qualities. Hashtag TTS, the deep dive episode 2025-0115, part 3 of 3.
So we've talked about the technical side, the skills, the knowledge you need to become a pilot. But what about, like, the mental side of things? It seems like there's a lot more to it than just, being able to fly a plane.
You're absolutely right. Being a pilot is a high-pressure job.
Yeah,
You're responsible for the safety of yourself and potentially hundreds of passengers.
right.
You need to be able to stay calm in emergencies, make critical decisions in, a split second,
Wow.
and handle uh, unexpected situations.
It's not just about knowing which buttons to push. It's about having the mental fortitude to deal with anything that comes your way up there. Is
Yeah.
that something you can learn? Or are some people just like born with that right stuff, as they say?
That's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
And it's something aviation psychologists have studied for decades.
Oh, wow.
Um, while some people might naturally possess traits that make them well-suited to a career in aviation,
Right.
I believe a lot of it comes down to, training, practice, and developing the right mindset.
So it's like building mental muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about developing resilience, stress management techniques, and effective communication skills.
Right.
Remember all those testimonials mentioning interview and psychometric test prep?
Yeah.
That's not just about passing a test. It's about honing those crucial mental skills.
It's like they're training your brain to handle the pressures of the job even before you step into a cockpit.
Precisely. And this kind of training can benefit you in all areas of life,
Yeah,
not just in aviation.
sure.
Being able to stay calm under pressure, communicate clearly, and work effectively in a team are valuable skills no matter what your career path is.
Okay, so for our listener who's, dreaming of taking to the skies, what advice would you give them in terms of developing those mental skills and resilience?
I would say, first and foremost, be honest with yourself about your strengths and weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
What are your areas for growth?
Right.
What challenges you? Once you know that, you can start developing strategies to address them.
So self-awareness is key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to seek guidance from, mentors, instructors, or even aviation psychologists.
Okay.
There are professionals who specialize in helping pilots develop the mental skills they need to succeed.
That's really encouraging. Means even if you don't think you're like naturally pilot material, you can still work towards it.
Exactly. It's about having the right attitude, the willingness to learn, and the dedication to put in the work.
And it sounds like Aviator Cloud could be a valuable resource in that journey, at least based on what we've seen so far.
They seem to offer a solid foundation in the technical aspects of aviation,
Hmm.
and they also recognize the importance of mental preparedness,
Right.
which is commendable. But as we discussed earlier, it would be helpful to know more about their teaching methods
Right.
and the level of support they provide.
Right. Some details are still missing from the picture. So for our listener, the next step would be to dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
Maybe reach out to Aviator Cloud, request a demo, or even connect with some of their former students to get their firsthand perspectives.
That's an excellent suggestion.
Yeah.
And remember, choosing a flight school or training program is a big decision.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not just about finding the cheapest option.
Right.
It's about finding the program that best fits your learning style, your goals, and your budget.
It's like choosing a co-pilot for this incredible journey. You want someone you trust, someone who will support you, and someone who shares your passion for flying.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
And remember, even with the best training, success ultimately comes down to your own dedication and effort.
Yeah.
So if you're truly passionate about becoming a pilot, don't let anything hold you back. Pursue your dream with everything you've got.
On that inspiring note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of pilot training.
Yeah.
We hope this has given you some valuable insights and food for thought as you embark on your aviation journey.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll see you soaring through the skies.
Until next time, happy flying.
Uh-huh.